Welcome back to the Methodical Muse podcast. This is Christine Curtis, the Methodical Muse, and this is episode 2. And this episode really came out of a phrase that I've coined, one that's actually helped me professionally, personally, relationally, and I wanted to share really honestly where it came from, but how you may be able to actually apply it to yourself as well. Episode 2, cash out, not crash out. I never understood the power of choice until I had to choose between mirroring a version of me that no longer existed and then matching one that I was becoming. That choice required me to not only hold myself accountable, but to stay accountable to the promises that I made myself. For me, that meant showing up in spaces where I was met with frustration, hurt, more often misunderstanding. And then also showing up in places that triggered me to either yell or scream my way through something if I weren't using silence as a weapon. And every time I did that, I crashed out. Sometimes gracefully. Sometimes very dramatically. But always to my own detriment, right? Because the path before me required something different. It required what Michelle Obama has coined, going higher. When they go low, we go higher. At the time, I didn't know what that even meant. So I didn't show up in that way. I let moments and circumstances define me and my actions and use it as an excuse to continue to perform in a way that didn't recognize the things I was asking for or the version I was praying to become. Until one day I stopped. I learned how to cash out instead. And that had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with meaning. It meant chasing the version of myself that I needed to be when I felt dismissed, invalidated, unheard, and unseen. It meant refusing to succumb to the patterns that tried to trap me, choosing instead to stand firm in heart and in posture. To let every difficult thing become a propellant and not a prison. Cashing out meant deciding differently when I knew how to match energy and how to mirror it very well. Talking about I was a master, honey. And that's the shift I want for everybody. It's the moment you realize that the real flex is reaching for your power and not performing to your pain. So when we think about crashing out, we often picture big moments, right? The blow-ups, the meltdowns, the sharp words that leave those really hard scars. But most of the time, it starts very quietly. It starts when you're operating in survival mode and you're calling it strength. That's not resilience. That's resistance disguised as drive. And how we end up matching energy we never asked for. We crash out when we forget that calm is its real power. Before I learned how to cash out, baby, I was a queen at crashing out. I let anger speak louder than my wisdom. And at times I walked away from relationships that might have needed healing and not explosion. In those moments, I was chasing relief, not resolution. And it always came with a cost. The kind that you can't pay with money, but you always pay for it with peace. So through prayer, meditation, and therapy, I started to see how much power I was giving away every single time I reacted instead of responding in love. And the peace that I knew I had. and the calm I knew that was within me. I was trading long-term growth for short-term satisfaction. And I called it strength, when really it was a surrender to the wrong thing. Cashing out became my habitual practice. Instead of letting these jobs frustrate me, moving and leaving without a plan, I leaned into study my environment. I used them to extract wisdom and not the wounds. And in relationships, instead of letting anger make my point, I leaned into the peace to speak for me. Now, was it always met with the same energy that I gave? No. The goal of cashing out isn't to receive, it is to pour in such a way that it matches the version of you that you're trying to reach. Because not everything needs to be a dramatic ending. Choosing not to let hurt become what shapes me was the power. And that choice follows a rhythm. And what I call the 3 R's of cashing out: recognize, reassess, and reroute. So let's recognize the patterns, right? The things that keep you performing in the pain instead of processing it. Reassess what peace looks like for you now. And reroute your energy towards growth and not instant or simply just gratification. Cashing out is a quiet kind of courage. It doesn't have a microphone, ironically. Sometimes it doesn't even have an audience. It's counting what you've learned instead of what you lost. It's giving yourself permission to rest without guilt, to detach from drama without needing to defend your distance. It's realizing that power is never passive. It's an active practice. When you cash out, you're not giving up. You're giving yourself proper due and proper credit. So before you crash out, make sure you withdraw your worth from the chaos. Redeem the lessons from the losses. And reinvest your energy where it compounds and not where it drains. Let cashing out be the practice and crashing out be the proof that you've grown. Stay methodical, stay magical, and don't you ever forget, the only thing that really lasts are the beautiful lessons. See you later.